retaking control of Congress. Let's bring in Jay Chabria, managing director at MAD Strategies. So what do you think of the strategy that the Democrats seem to be employing right now to try to win back Congress, Jay?
Well, John, I'm a Republican operative, and I hesitate to say this, but since David Hogg clearly doesn't even care what the greatest living Democratic strategist James Carville has to say, I love David Hogg. I want more David Hogg. I want him to do this hostile takeover that he's doing of the Democratic Party. Because, look, it's not just about Gaza and stop and allowing more illegal immigration that he's for. He actually just doesn't believe in American values, and that's what's going to propel Republicans to electoral success in the future. So more David Hogg, more AOC. I'm here for it.
Meantime, you've got people like Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland going down to Central America to meet with Abrego Garcia, the guy that the left claims was mistakenly deported. How is that photo op turning out for them, Jay?
Well, look, from our standpoint, from the Republican standpoint, it's been great. Look, Republicans are going into what historically is going to be a difficult election, right? I mean, we've got a very narrow majority. The party out of power usually loses seats, but Democrats, I mean, they've basically handed the vice chairmanship of the Democratic Party to a terrorist. And, when Van Hollen goes down there and they defend MS-13, they defend illegal immigration, they defend Hamas, they defend beating up cops, whatever it is, Donald Trump, whatever you want to say about him, he's forced them in a position where they're defending all these unpopular opinions, these unpopular institutions, and that actually gives Republicans a fighting chance to keep Congress going into this. I mean, another one too, Harvard. They're on the Republicans on the side against elite institutions. Democrats are for the side of Harvard. It's amazing to watch, and I love it.
Meantime, AOC, the New York congresswoman who was, I think when she was elected, the youngest person ever elected to Congress, there's a drumbeat of suggestion, I guess you would say, that she could be the Democrats' best bet as a presidential candidate next time around. What do you think about that?
Well, look, the Democrats have a hard time because they don't have a message right now and they don't have a standard bearer either. So they're searching, they're looking around. And look, she clearly is one person that's able to draw clicks. Again, I'm for it. I want them to go farther to the left, go towards their base. I think that's a better place for Republicans. Because, look, it's very clear what's happened over the last several years is that the Republican Party, even though left-wing cable news pundits will say that they're far right, they've moved to the center of the country. That's where the center of the country is, center right. And the Democratic Party has gone far left. And look, here's the thing. Democrats right now, they've basically have two speeds. It's protest and purge. And right now they're doing both. But it's to each other, and it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Well, we just had that poll up of Democrat voters that said, who do you think best represents your opinions in the party? And AOC only gets 10%. There are a lot of names on there, obviously, but it would seem like 10%, if you've got 10% support in your own party, that's hardly the platform to begin a presidential run, or is it?
Well, it probably is, and just by virtue of them not having a standard bearer, they'll go through their primary process. The issue they have is in their primary process, they're going to be pushed far to the left. How are they going to actually answer the Hamas question? How are they actually going to answer the illegal immigration question? That's where AOC is going to appeal to the left wingers there. And by the way, all of their online contributors, that's the energy of that party. And that's really the problem for them going into 2028. Meantime,
we have video up right now, or pictures, I should say, of her along with Bernie Sanders on their Fighting Oligarchy tour. Fox had that video of the two of them getting off a private jet as they are, fighting oligarchy. What does that do to their message, do you think, Jay?
Well, it doesn't do anything to their message for their hard, faster supporters. But what it does do is it reminds the American people, middle America, the voters that gave the presidency to Donald Trump and the majority in Congress to the Republicans, the hypocrisy of the leftists there. Sure, they talk a good game, fight oligarchies, fight dictatorships, but they love their creature comforts. They love the power that they have, and they love talking down to Americans. So whenever they do any of these things, it reminds middle Americans of what they voted for this last election, and that portends good things for Republicans coming forward.
It's a pretty nice private jet. I mean, as a private pilot, I'd love to fly it. Jay Chabria, couldn't afford it, but I'd love to fly it. Jay Chabria, good to talk to you. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
So a unilateral ceasefire right now in the war in Ukraine. Russia's president